Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 2 of the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 107. She's a full-time realtor who is passionate about helping her clients love where they live even more. And she has closed over $20 million in sales this year. Growing up in the business, she found her calling in real estate marketing. She traveled for nearly a decade training and speaking to over 200,000 agents throughout North America. She created and delivered educational programs for nearly every major real estate brand, as well as for the National Association of REALTORS. Then, after both of her companies were acquired in 2013, she joined the family business as a local realtor. She co-founded a popular local group and movement called Love Livermore in order to facilitate a greater sense of community and connection both online and offline, and was recently nominated for the Good Neighbor Award. She has been recognized as Rookie of the Year and Grand Master by the Bay East Association of Realtors for outstanding achievement in sales and service to her clients. She has also been named one of the 100 most influential people in real estate by Inman News. On this episode of the Mindshare Podcast, I am joined by top producer and realtor Nicole Nicolay. Nicole, welcome to the show.
That's quite an introduction.
Hey, you know what? I'm pretty impressed. I mean, I love what you're up to. I'm excited to dig in with you today. As I was mentioning just before we got on air, I've had some high recommendations to get you on the show and chat with you further. So I'm definitely excited. Now, I want to ask you quickly because you had in that bio that I received that I read about you, you'd mentioned that you're a fan of Hallmark Christmas movies. Funny enough, as I read that, I was kind of chuckling, not at the fact that you're a fan of them, but a friend of mine that I grew up with in grade school, who I mean, the only way we keep in touch these days is all by Instagram. He actually just starred in one of those Hallmark Christmas movies.
Was he in Evergreen? Because they all take place in Evergreen. So this mystical Christmas location, which I think is actually somewhere in Canada.
I think that... See, you're doing this live, and I should know what the show was that the movie was called. I'll tell you, I tagged him. I watched it, I turned it on. My wife and I, we were definitely. His name was Antonio Cayone.
Okay, I'm gonna look him up.
Antonio, if you're listening to anybody, that's my boy. I grew up with this guy in grade school. Hey, dude, don't forget the small guys. We're still here. But no, that when I saw that, I thought, hey, that's cool. The other thing that I liked, which I'm totally in line with you, so I'm excited about this, is that you are a big fan of Coffee Crisp. So,
oh man, yes.
Favorite Canadian candy. Now, did you put the favorite Canadian candy in there just because it was you're in Canada today, or do you say that to everybody?
Well, it's definitely with it. I mean, Reese's peanut butter cups are my number one. Let's be real. I mean, those ones, they're up here. But Coffee Crisp is right up there. And I had not, so.
I'm definitely a big fan of Reese, so that's a good one. But no, let's dig in here.
Okay.
Last week on the show, I was joined by Ryan Smith. He's the creator and founder of a company called Launch Your Farm. And our topic was all about how to become the go-to community expert. And what I had done, and I mean, there's not a lot of people that are passionate about farming. This guy's incredibly passionate about it. And I believe that if you do it right, you can make anything work. But I did ask him this one question, and we ended up, once I asked it to him, we ended up talking for an hour on this thing. And I said to him, I'm an agent. I want to farm an area. What do you say? And he proceeded to give us this entire strategy for how to choose a farm and then execute consistently and generate a ton of business. And I thought that, I was looking at our topic today. I'm like, this is a great segue into a topic about helping your clients love where they live. So before we kind of go into that, can you, beyond the bio that I just mentioned about you, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you're up to?
Gosh.
Loaded,
well,
right?
First of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about farming. I'm kind of excited about that because
cool.
I guess probably the best way to maybe get to know who I am is I'm 110% all in to whatever I'm passionate about. So that's, being a mom, it's being an athlete, being a realtor, all the things. that I'm passionate about, I'm all into. So when I became a realtor, which I kind of tiptoed backwards into, because, you know, it's in my family blood. And when you grow up as a realtor and you see your parents working day and night and tag teaming on vacations, like, you know, we'd go on vacation to Tahoe, and both my parents, only one parent would actually be there at a time because they were both realtors. So they'd have to like tag team, because they always wanted to have, you know, they always want to be a part of the experience with their clients and be hands-on. It was never about passing it off, you know? So when you see that, I was like, oh, hell no, I am never becoming a realtor. These people work way too much. And they really love what they do, but they work way too much. So I became a teacher instead. And fast forward several careers, because I'm like 1,000 years old after being a teacher and owning 2 marketing companies, and then finally getting into the business. My parents, you know, were really excited when I joined the family business, and they sat me down and they were like, oh, you know, you know so much about marketing and branding. We're so excited. Yeah, you can redo our website and whatever you want to do. And then they said, and by the way, go find yourself some clients. So it was never about like, hey, we're going to hand you our clients and there you go. They said, hey, if you want to work open houses every single weekend, go for it. And I did that. But, you know, I really took to heart what my parents were doing. And of course I wanted their advice. And they said, you know, go out and get yourself a farm. And I looked at all the top producers in my area and they all had farms. And so I, you know, being the Ironman triathlete that I am, I was like, oh, I'm going to do these 800 houses, 20 miles of walking, and I'm going to do this every week. And I hated it, David. I hated
for sure.
it.
Everybody
I hated it because I had this grandiose idea of like, oh, I'd be walking the farm and I'd see like, you know, women out there pushing their baby strollers and walking their kids home from school or whatever. And I would like connect, our eyes would meet and they'd be like, oh, yes, of course, you could be our realtor, you know? And there was none of that. I got the police called on me. Like it just was a nightmare. And I've told this story before. You know, I came home and my husband, who works for the National Association of REALTORS and for RPR, so he's very on the tech side of things, but you know, he's watched and helped me grow my business, and given me some of the greatest advice that I put into play, you know, every day. But we were at the dinner table and he's like shaking his head because I had come home and I was like, and I just don't know why these people don't connect with me and I haven't gotten one call. And he's like, well, first of all, it's been 5 weeks. And you've been walking 20 miles every week for 5 weeks. It's going to take you 2 years to even get this going. And I just was like, I didn't love it. I was not passionate about walking the farm area. Like I just, you know, and he was shaking his head and I said, what's so funny? And he goes, I just don't understand why you're not doing the things that come natural to you, that you have one of the most engaged networks that you've, you know, cultivated and facilitated over the last decade, being a real estate speaker and a trainer and a blogger and teaching social media and best practices. Why are you not doing the things that you taught and putting them into play as a realtor now? And I thought I was doing it, but I wasn't really like all into it. I still felt like I got to send the postcards. I should walk a farm. Like I thought I had to do the realtor things that seemingly everybody else was doing and having success with in order to cultivate that same success. But he was right. You know, I dumped the farm and I started over.
Okay. I want to dig into, love this. I want to backpedal for 1 second and go, you were doing marketing. What part of marketing were you involved in?
So, well, I was an early adopter in blogging. So in 2005, I was an at-home mom. I had been teaching and was at home with a kid. And my husband came home and he knew I was like losing my mind. I was a terrible stay-at-home mom. And I was like, I need something. And he's like, we're going to start a blog. And I was like, what the blog? What's a blog? And he's like, you're a teacher. He's like, you know a lot about real estate and marketing comes natural. So we started this blog called My Tech Opinion in 2005. And fast forward, you know, we're kind of lifelong learners, my husband and myself. So we just basically took on like learning blogging, content creation, original content, video marketing, social media. We were on a thing called My Blog Log way back in the day. Like people don't even know what that is. It's like, but you know, we stepped into social media and really kind of taught it to ourselves. I wrote an ebook on Twitter and how not to be a, you know, on Twitter. And
so, okay. So you, the marketing part of your world in the back end was going in, jumping into this digital space, learning everything you possibly can, and then actually starting to reteach that to other people. So the whole ILT, invest to learn something new so you could teach it to others.
Completely.
Right? And there's giving value. And then from there, because I'll tell you straight, I mean, I grew up in a real estate office as well. My father was a broker owner. I remember the long days, you know, everything else going on, typewriters and black and white MLS tear sheets. Like I remember it all.
A big MLS book with all their listings in it.
You had to be first in there to like get it, because if you didn't, like somebody else did.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is that I also remember the agents that were successful because they were, call it the first one in the office, because they knew how to do the schmooze at the coffee shop and the gym, and they'd come back and they'd talk to their colleagues, and they were always just talking. I remember this one guy, he was the first guy to have the big, you know, the big bag, the purse with the cell phone on it. Then he upgraded the whole thing, went to the curly Q antenna on his, you know, windshield. And then it got fancy and it was like, we got into a pager, right? I remember it all. So I know when we talk about farming and that old school, like what do realtors do in terms of the postcard and then walking around, but I also understand the whole thing of not liking it.
Yeah.
And I mean, one stat that I've repeated time and time again is that 96% of people do not want a door knock. 99% of us don't want to be door knocked, right? But of the 4% that actually get out there and hit the pavement and go out and see people and connect with people, 99% of them will tell you they see business from it.
That's an important, I want to stop there because you said connect.
Yep.
And when I think about farming, I think for me, it immediately brought to mind the idea of selling, that I'm going to show up on your doorstep and I'm selling a service or myself. And for me, that made me really uncomfortable.
Totally.
Because I just spent a decade talking about authentic marketing and relationship marketing and creating connection, and being a former teacher, how do I create value and really educate and provide people with information and value that gives them confidence? And that's what I had to come back to as a realtor, that I was missing, that I understood as a marketer and an educator. But when I transitioned to become a realtor, I thought to myself, how do I get out of this sales position? Like I'm not a salesman. I'm offering value in a service and I'm your guide. And how do I pivot and figure out how to be of value and create connection with who I want to work with versus selling myself to the people I want to work with?
I see people, they'll come to my door, and obviously the past number of months has changed the landscape on that, from people's comfort factors of actually even going to a door. But I know for people that have come to my door, I mean, and I'm a guy that I will open the door to talk to you because I want to hear your pitch, right? But I mean, you didn't realize the door that you knocked on when you got to mine.
Exactly.
But I'll open the door with a smile. How you doing? What's going on? And they'll do the pitch. I'm so-and-so with such and such realty, and I'm just, you know, in the neighborhood. I'll tell them exactly where their office is located. And all of a sudden they'll look at you like, who are you? Do you sell real estate? No, I don't. They go, okay. So how can I help you? I ask them. And they look at you and go, well, I just want to let you know I'm in the neighborhood, and this is what I do. And I go, no, but what can I do for you today? You know, thanks for coming by, but what do you want? They kind of look at you at this point funny, and you're like, do you want to put a sign on my lawn? They're like, yeah. No, I don't even know who you are. So that goes hand in hand with what you just said about it's a connection point, right? I was chatting with somebody the other day, one of my clients, and she had mentioned that she wants to break into this thing of, you know, the farming and sort of some of these old school tactics, right? Because she does a phenomenal, like kick-ass job when it comes to the digital space. But there's this thing around, you know, having to do the connection, the schmooze, the, you know, having her anonymity versus not having that anonymity. and kind of looking at that and going, if I'm going to get out there and get into the neighborhood, do I have to get past that? What do you say about that?
You absolutely have to get past that. You have to find a way where you feel, you have to identify first who the hell you are. Like, who are you and what are your strengths? What are your passions? And how can you make those relatable to people to connect with that community that you work in? And for me, you know, I absolutely agree that you need to be part of your community in order to relate and create those connection points. And hiding, you know, being behind you know, a logo or a brand, you are your brand first and foremost. And for me, I don't want people to connect necessarily with my broker's logo. I want them to connect with me, the person, and know what I'm about and how I can assist them. You know, I'm using these tools, or the suite of tools that I use to make the transaction fluid, but it's so much more than that. So how do you put yourself out there? And it can be very scary for people to step into that space, because, you know, it's funny, I'll go out places and they're like, oh, you're the Love Livermore lady. And, you know, oh, I know you, you know, and it's, you know, it's laughable for my kids, but.
But you built the mind share out there with people, right? Now you've done, from what I understand here, over 20 million sales this year. I'm curious to know, is the majority of your business from people you know, which includes kind of that referral network, or is it from people you don't know?
It's all from people I know.
Thank you. Drop the mic. We're going home. Thank you. Bye, everybody. No, I'm joking. Don't go anywhere.
I mean, I do have a couple of buyer clients, obviously. I have people that Google me, or they don't necessarily Google me. They're Googling Livermore. Yep. And basically the marketing suite of things that I have going on, they find and read up and learn about. But it's funny, because even when I get them on a Zoom, like during this past year, obviously, and we connect, they're like, I already feel like I know you. I've watched all your videos, you know. It never feels like I'm ever working with someone that's like some, just, you know, any
random.
It's never like that.
It happens. But again, when we say like the majority is coming from either the people, right. Okay, cool. So that's good to know. So now let's dig into that, because we talk about the connection. We talk about the community, and I believe that there are ways to become the go-to community expert, not just somebody that people know, but actually somebody that people want to work with. And there comes that connection point. So can you break it down for us at this point? Like, I mean, being a marketer and understanding the digital space of things, but as we both just agreed, that connection point is so key, and you've got to be able to be out there in person, like human to human, having these convos and just building that relationship with folks. Can you take us through what you do for marketing? How have you built this? What is this whole thing about Love Livermore? You know, what is it, and how do you execute on it? So how are you building mind share so that Nicole continues to win more? Does that make sense? I'd like to know, like, what channels are you using? So social and email, and is there any paper? Or are you doing a lot of phone calls? Are you door knocking? Is there community events going on? Like, I want anybody listening today to kind of go, how could I walk away and help my clients love where they live even more? And that's like your whole premise, right?
It is. Yep. It's a lot of work, I will tell you that. And I get a lot of people that ask me, hey, could I take Love Livermore, and I want to do it over here in my city, or I want to do it in my state, in this county. And do you have a guidebook? Do you teach a class? You know, we get that a lot. I do not do it alone. I have a partner. So my partner, Robin Anachero, I'm so grateful for her, because Love Livermore could not be what it is without having a team. I have a Reggie, who's my husband, and he builds stuff on the back end for us. And then of course I have Robin, who's my business partner. You know, I worked solo for a number of years, or part of my parents' team, but building myself and my business. And I had a great gal come into my spin class that I was teaching one day and say, I'm having a challenge with this real estate transaction. I have some questions. Can you help me? So I ended up helping her and walking her through. I was like, don't don't dump your realtor. Let's go through this and
Yep.
figure it out. So long story short, she ended up selling her house. I ended up helping her stay in Livermore and buy a house. And then a year after that, she gave me a call and said, can I take you to lunch? And we ended up becoming, she's like, I want to be a realtor, but I only want to do it with you. So I was like, sweet. She is all in. I love people that are all in. And we just, we both realized, and she's a former teacher and principal. So that education, that need and want to educate, to provide knowledge, to give people confidence in making decisions, it's innate in Robin, just as I feel it's innate in me. And we are aligned in our strengths very well. And we both have other strengths and accountability factors that we share between us. And the reason I'm telling you all of this about Robin is because it literally takes so much time, effort. It takes the whole being to really run a community group, because what we didn't realize is we had this great idea to start Love Livermore, a place where people could truly come to get information about the city of Livermore. So we have about a little over 90,000 people. We have 60 wineries. We have the National Laboratory. We have the smallest, fastest rodeo. We have the highest per capita PhD. I mean, we are an eclectic group. There are cowboys and scientists and millennials, everybody in between, right? So
I'm seeing like Toy Story in my head right now. I don't know why.
It's crazy
right?
here. But we're so lucky. And we just, everybody that lives here that's passionate about Livermore in this way, we all want to share that with other people that move here or are here, and have them be able to take on that feeling too, and have that pride. Everybody wants to love where they live. Everybody does. And how do you get that? How do you, it's much more than like, let me learn about this business or this experience or this person. It's really developing a connection with your community and those people that live there. And so if you're thinking about starting like, oh, I'm going to start my own, whatever group, you need to think about it in a larger sense of the true feeling that creates that connection there.
Okay. So the thought that I've got as the agent is I want to, as we almost started, and like I said to Ryan last week, I want to start a farm area. The thought that I've got is that I want to become the go-to community expert. That's the thought that I've got in my mind. Mm-hmm. And you're saying, look, it's got to go well beyond that thought. It's got to go well beyond the desire. You've got to think about, how can I actually connect with these people and develop that? That's what I want to take away.
You have to, exactly. It's all about the feeling. And also, like, I have, again, when people ask me, how can I do this? I'm like, I can't give you the formula and have you apply it directly in your market, because your market's different and you're different. So you have to come back to yourself. You have to realize, what are my strengths? What am I good at? So like for us, you asked me about the mediums that we're using. We're most of the time we are completely online. We're using Facebook. We have a Facebook group. And in just over, almost 3 years, we have over 12,000 people that have joined. And that's where we have the conversations that are happening, and we have very clear guidelines and rules, and it takes 24/7 facilitating that group in Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Go ahead.
No. Okay. Sorry. No, list them off. Then I'm going to go back and dissect them for a second.
Yeah.
I want to learn more. Yeah, go for it.
There's lots going on.
Go for
So
it.
lots of moving parts. So you got Facebook group, then you got a Facebook page. Then we've got our own personal profiles within Facebook, right? Robin and I both do. We have an Instagram. I have my own personal Instagram. Robin has her own personal Instagram. We have a community community Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We have a website. And then we are in a little more traditional sense. We send a weekly email newsletter to everybody. So we've done that for 2 years now, every single week. I would say that's about the most traditional thing that we do is email.
Okay.
We don't do a lot of postcards, but we do some. We're not super consistent with it, other than maybe like once a month, but print is not our focus really.
Okay.
And then community outreach. I mean, we're in our community. We're everywhere in our community. We're interviewing businesses and people. We've interviewed probably almost 200 local business owners or people over the last couple years, and created video content. So we create all of our own content. We're content creators in that sense. So,
okay. So sponsorships. Okay. Community outreach would be video content with people, doing like interviews with shop owners, talking about them.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to dig in now. So we've talked Facebook group, Facebook page, personal profiles on Facebook. We've talked Instagram. You've got a business page, you've got a personal page, and you've got a community page. YouTube, there's a channel. Website, there's a web page, not just for you, Nicole, and Robin per se, but for Love Livermore. There's a page for that. Okay. A weekly email newsletter. We've got some postcards. So maybe once a month, there's a postcard that goes out. Is that like a just listed, just sold? Or is that like here's what's going on?
We try to vary. So like we try to do a collection of like homes that we've just sold. So it may have like 12 different homes on there. And then sometimes we'll focus, we do just listed, just sold around each listing that we have. That's kind of on autopilot that's probably the only things that I put on autopilot in terms of my marketing are postcard scenarios. So I have an assistant and she'll send the just listed, just solds out. And, but if it comes to like a message that I want to get out to the community, that's going to have more than just real estate listings and real estate advice on there, then I definitely have more of a hand in it. And there's more of a focused strategy behind it.
You said something very important, and I want everybody to really understand what was just said. And it's very, very simple, but it's profound. No autopilot.
Yeah, there's no autopilot.
Okay, and that's huge, because a buddy of mine, Jason, always uses the line, "Set it and forget it is set it and forget you." And I really believe in that. I mean, with even our marketing program kits, that we do for thousands of realtors, we offer action plans, we offer drip campaigns. And I am the first guy to say, don't use those features. And people look at me and they're like, but you built them. Why wouldn't we use them? I'm like, listen, the minute you put somebody on one of these things and you forget about them, that's where your relationship, instead of getting tighter, that connection, instead of getting tighter, it starts to go further away, because I can tell I'm on autopilot. And if I'm on autopilot, why you? Right? Which is always the big question, why you? So I wanted to drive that one home because I thought that was really important for people to understand. Now, did we just exhaust the channels you're using to build up Love Livermore?
Yes.
Okay. You would say, or you've said, that the majority of the business comes from this marketing strategy.
It comes from this marketing strategy. It comes from my network. It's all from people I know that I have worked with. And I would say 90%. So I live in the Bay Area in San Francisco. It's a very densely populated area. There are a lot of realtors here. There's a lot of competition here. And our market is insane, especially right now. So within our market area, I live in the Bay Area, but then I live in a little smaller section called the Tri-Valley. And of the Tri-Valley, there's about 6 cities here. And so when you come back to farming, like when I started farming, and I always ask my parents, what's your area? And they'd say the Tri-Valley, and it's these 6 cities. And so
when I explain try with 6, I'm missing.
It doesn't make sense. I know. Whatever. Maybe it was 3 cities in the beginning. Who knows? But so I think what's hard is like when I would try to pin down my parents for their branding, before I stepped into their real estate group and I was just still a marketer and a speaker, I would work with my husband and we'd rebuild their website and their brand and everything. And I'd always put them on the spot and be like, what is your market area? And they'd be like, oh, it's Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, San Ramon. I'm like, no, that's 6 cities you're talking about. Like, and they're like, well, we've been in the business for 30 years. Yeah. We do all this, we do it all. And I was like, no. Like, I can't do that. I have to for me, I wanted a greater sense of connection to my market area. I also am a busy mom. I don't have time to be driving all over the Bay Area. However, I do know a lot of people, and that doesn't mean that I won't have business in these other places, or that I don't know a ton about these other areas, because I'm born and raised here and I know all the cities, you know, but I think it's really important when you think about community and trying to be a community expert, you can't be everything to everyone in all things. It's already hard enough manning a community group for one city. I can't imagine doing it for a whole region, you know?
So are you doing phone calls?
No.
Like, are you just connecting with people on the database?
No.
Okay.
I'm not a big, I call my client, I'm on the phone interfacing with my clients throughout the process, through stepping them through, but I'm not going back into I don't go back into my database and do I have a set number of calls that I'm doing every day.
Okay.
Anything,
Why is that? Is that a time thing? Is that you don't believe in it yet? It hasn't worked?
It's a time. It is a time thing. Like I throw myself into my current clients in a way that I am like married to them. Like we are all in this together every step of the way. We're talking every single day about what is the next step, where are we gone, where are we going, etc. So for me, like I need ways to be efficient so that I can reconnect with people on a regular basis. And for me, that is using the Facebook group, that's using Instagram, it's using, I connect with people and I create conversations with them in the back channels where it's not often seen. When I look through their feeds and their posts, and when I'm sharing my stuff, I take time to look at what my network is doing online as well.
And you engage with them.
Mm-hmm. But in a very authentic way, not like, hey, good job for that.
So I'm looking at all this, and I know for myself, when I look at what you're doing, I would check off every single one of those boxes and say, I'm right there with you. So I know how much time it takes.
A lot.
Okay. Let's talk to time management for a second. Because I'm going to say that time management is the foundational piece to everything we do. The better we manage time, the more we can accomplish, the more we can relax, the more we can do. I mean, just the more of everything we can possibly have. And that could either be more business or more free time, but you got to manage it to have it. This is a lot of work. And you didn't even mention in there actually like facilitating real estate transactions, which we obviously know you do.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your time? How do you put this process in place? And again, the Facebook group, the Facebook page, the personal DMing people, your YouTube channel, your interviews. I mean, is there a strategy, or what is your strategy? Because like the Mindshare podcast, it records at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. It syndicates on Friday morning. That's what happens. Is there that type of process that's going on with everything that you listed off?
Yes.
Okay.
And it all comes back to content creation, right? Okay. So like, just like with your podcast, you're planning weeks ahead, right? With your guests that you're going to have, and you have a focus for each one of what you're going to be sharing. So same thing happens, luckily I was a teacher. Lesson planning comes natural to me and to Robin. So we sit down and, we have our Google calendar, but we're also paper gals too, so we sit down, we plan things out. Yep, I know. I got one right there. This is next year's already.
There you go. Yep.
Right? I like that you love calendars as much as I do.
Oh my,
Yeah.
It is. Anybody listening right now knows I go off about them. That is the roadmap to life. Like we talked about the road earlier with riding our bicycles, different bicycles, but that's the roadmap.
Well, and with a roadmap along the way, you have to have the motivation. It's not just about having a direction and knowing where you're headed. What's the motivation that's going to keep you going along the way? So I always have big goals, and those big goals are I pick a big goal every year. I do not overthink this stuff because I'm a big picture person. I'm a vision person. I'm a creative. And if I get, I need processes, which come from other people helping me.
Sure.
But I'm great at looking at the road ahead, picking the big goal for my business, picking the big goal personally for me, and making sure that I have those two big goals set ahead. And then I backtrack from there. So I've got an Ironman, planned in next October. I've got, a goal for my business planned for by next October too. And so with those, as I work backwards, what's that going to look like for my business, me personally, for the community, for my family? And then I just fill in the rest with mini micro goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and then even back to my day. And then even beyond my day, what within my day, what is my short, punch list of 3 things that have to be done today? And
everybody's going to think that I paid you to say all this stuff today because you sound like an echo to me right now, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's awesome because I'm listening to like, yep. Okay. Love it. So I hope everybody paying attention is taking notes. It's not just me saying it. This stuff works.
It does. It keeps you focused because honestly, it's when people are like, oh, work-life balance. No, there is no balance, especially if you are 110% into everything that you do in your life, or you want to be 110% into it. And you're super passionate. And I love my business. I love my clients. I love doing the community stuff. I love training. I love my family, but I need to ebb and flow. So it's not about a balance for me. It's about staying totally present, being aware of what I need to do right now in this moment, as well as today, have enough peripheral going on where I know what needs to be done. Like after I'm off with you, I'm running to, do a video shoot and photography for my new listing and, all the things. They're in there, but I'm not going to overthink on those right now. I'm going to stay present with you. I want to be aware in this moment of this conversation we're having. And so that ebb and flow needs to apply every single day. And I can't think too far in the ahead. Otherwise it just, that's why I stay up at night. So,
and there it is. So again, the foundation being time management, being planned, organized, and then being ready to go for what it is you're doing, and then being at full 110% while you're doing it.
Yep.
Once it's complete, mark it off and keep moving.
Yep.
So when we look at planning and we look at the Facebook group and we look at the page and all the content, because you're a content creator, I consider myself a content creator. I know the type of effort that it takes to put into that. At the same time, I try not to go too far ahead in time because I don't know what's going on tomorrow just yet. Yeah. I mean, I've got a plan, but the in the moment sometimes are some of those real, fireworks that we can create.
Yeah.
When you're putting out the content and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm building this community, because there's a few things to this. One is putting out the content. Then you mentioned that you've got this email list of X amount of people. And I think that there's a missing link all the time from a lot of folks to go, okay, I'm going to put out content. And I always ask the question, well, how are you getting the data? Like, where are you getting the contact information from so that you can continue to build mindshare with people and create that true connection? Mm-hmm. When you put your content out there and you decide, okay, I'm going to start this Facebook group. So I've got this community. I'm going to start a Facebook group. First question is, how did you even get people to tap into the group? Like, how did you get them to know that it existed?
I held a physical event and invited everyone in my network. And so
physical in person?
I did, because we started 3 years ago in February. So in February, that will be our 3rd year of the group.
Okay.
So we kicked off our group basically on Valentine's Day. Obviously, it's the celebration of love Livermore. So we held an event, something you could do with your kids and your family, other than like maybe spend $300 on a dinner. So we went to just like a local Michael's. We went to the local rock quarry, got all these rocks, all this paint, all this stuff. We partnered with the local Michael's, and we invited all the moms, all the people that we know and we're connected with, to an event where we all painted rocks. I know, painted rocks. And
but you're bringing people together. So I understand the premise of it.
So, and then of course we had all of our swag, all of our stuff there. So the branding was there, but we provided an experience for people to connect with and paint their rocks. And then we suggested that they take their rocks with their kids and go out into the community and hide their love inspired rocks with their messages on them.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so then that kind of snowballed onto other ways where people would find the rocks in the community and they'd show the rocks and take photos of the rocks. And so you have to find a way, if you're going to go out into your community and hold an event, what is going to bring the people back into the group and get them into the group. So
how would you do that today, COVID, like during COVID right now? I know I threw you right on the spot there. Maybe you'll have a thought that comes up later and you'll feed it back to us. It's that whole thing with COVID. I mean, I can tell you, I've got some brilliant ideas I'd love to share with people about going around and doing certain things in the community. Then you're like, oh, I don't know if that's the right suggestion at this exact moment in time, just because of what's going on out there.
I think you have to look at people's pain points right now and provide something that assists them and that helps them in this particular time period. Right now, like our group, for example, we're being a safe place for people online because everyone is online.
Yep.
So what we found is in living in our community, there are a lot of online groups, right? There's online groups for dog owners, online groups for wine lovers, So what are you passionate about, and where you could be online and cultivate a following in a group and a connection over something that is a truly shared passion. So for us, we wanted that passion to be about loving where we live and being a place where people could share the people, places, and experiences that make them love living here and be truly positive. If you're negative, we kick your ass out of the group. Like there's no we don't mess around.
There's no space for that.
There's already so much negativity online, as you know. We've been through so much these last 9 months. People do not need negativity. It is way easy for them to jump on one little negative comment and have it spiral out of control. Trust me, I've been facilitating a group for 9 months through COVID, and it is a full-time job for Robin and I to keep the narrative focused on the positive. But that's what people need right now, is they need people to step up in their community and be the bright light, be the one that can lead through it all with, integrity, with professionalism, with positivity, and really try to build that true connectivity. That's, just because we can't necessarily go out and connect with each other face to face doesn't mean that you can't create that connection online.
And so you've created, to go in and create a Facebook group, anybody could do that right now, and it could take moments to do it. The webpage will take a little bit more planning and maybe a little bit more insight to whether you can do it or somebody else does it for you. But okay, we create the webpage. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to create this stuff. It's another thing to bring these people in. So you started with a in-person event. You created a very cool little project, and painting the rocks is simplistic, but the minute you go and hide them around the community, and then let other people find them. And then when you find them, take pictures and post it up in our group. And all of a sudden we've created this culture, this community, these people that are engaging. How did you get that next level wave of people that were like, oh my God, I got to be part of this group? Were you promoting it in terms of any paid advertising? Was it more just you talking about it as you're doing things? And then inside that group, if I go in there now, we talk about a safe place and connection. What is it that you're putting in that group on a regular basis? I love the fact that you go out to the community and you do the videos with the shop owners and put that stuff in. All hand in hand. How are we bringing more people in? And then what are we doing inside of it in terms of safe place? And again, I know you've listed a few examples. I guess what I'm trying to do is dissect this enough that anybody sitting at home who goes, okay, I get it, and I'd like to start this, and we know it doesn't happen overnight. What can they do?
So again, you come back to people's pain points, right? Okay. So here in our community over the last 30 days, we try to, again, focus the content around a lesson plan or the season or whatever we have going on. So for the month of November, we did a focus on wellness. And what does wellness look like? Right now, people are scared. People are trying to stay well. People are, battling negativity, all sorts of things, right? How can we help people have a healthy mind, body, and soul is what we focused on for the last 30 days. So we went out to a yoga instructor. We had her show us some tips, some yoga poses for stress relief. And then we did a video and we shared that into the group. And then we tagged the yoga studio and we disseminate that content everywhere so that it pulls people in. So you're not just posting in the group, you're posting it where all your feelers, all your people are going to be. Then we talked to a gal, actually Canadian. If there are any Canadian hockey fans out there that know Dominic Pittis, I don't know if you know my man, the Pittis family. They're pretty awesome.
Okay.
He is an ex-pro hockey player. His wife, Kim Pittis, she is a sports therapist, and they ended up being my clients because he's been coaching the Calgary Flames farm team down here in Stockton. So he's been down here coaching. Amazing family. So anyways, sorry, that was a little tangent there, but
it's okay. When you talk hockey, I mean, you can talk hockey all day.
I'm like, one of my besties is a Canadian hockey family. So, anyways, Kim, she gave us some tips on sleep habits and what is a sleep, what should your sleep routine look like? So we compiled content, we created a video, and then for each of these, we also did like a white paper for each one. So you could download it, you could watch the video, we put it in different places. So we did the yoga, stress relief. We did the sleep habits. We went to a shop, a new business this gal had opened for B12 shots. And we got a B12 shot in the butt, like right on camera. It was awesome. Okay. So, infusing your body with vitamins and things like, so we try to look at what are the pain points that people are experiencing and how can we help and provide them with that information. And then whoever we're interfacing with for that, we make sure that we are lifting them up in a way that they want to reshare and bring people back into the group.
Okay. So one thing you did not mention anything of, you guys don't talk real estate.
No.
Interesting. So
not at all. Okay.
So couple quick ones then. How are you gathering email addresses from all of this?
Typically from our events, live events. So like for the last 4 years, I held like a gingerbread extravaganza at like a local neighborhood pub, and we invited all the families, and then we'd take pictures at the event, and then we get their emails at the event.
How did you get their email? What was that actual process?
Literally,
like just fill out this form. Like
literally, here's my kid. She's gonna check you in. Oh, did you sign up? You signed up to decorate 4 gingerbread houses. Oh, let me check you off. Can you sign in here?
Perfect. Okay, good. Cool. So you're gathering emails. That's how we're building out the email list. And we're continuing to be able to market to people. Do you cross-pollinate? And it sounds like naturally with Love Livermore, it's very much about Love Livermore. And so for everybody, again, important to understand, this is not necessarily a ploy for real estate. This is how can she help people better understand where they live and fall in love more with where they live. That's what Love Livermore is all about.
That is.
Where's the parlay to the real estate side of things? Or do you really keep that separate? I mean, we've got a question from one of our Mindshare masters here who's asking about, you've got lovelivermore.com, then you've got NicoleNicolay.com. Much the same when it comes to Insta. We've got at Nick, as well as at Love Livermore. And Love Livermore, again, on both fronts is going to be very much about the Livermore. And then Nick, and let's say NicoleNicolay.com would be very much about your real estate business. Right?
Yes.
Is there any cross-pollination in any of that? How do you turn that into business now at this point?
There is some cross-pollination, but we are very strict in our group. We do not sell any real estate into the group at all. We don't talk about real estate. We even have it so much as that we don't allow other businesses to sell in the group. So even though we're partnering with all of these local businesses and we're showcasing them, we don't allow them to sell directly or blatantly sell into our group. We're trying to raise the bar in how people communicate. So we give them guidelines, we reach out to them on a regular basis, and we tell them, you let other people share their experiences. You don't talk about your business. That's not going to build trust. What's going to build trust is other people saying, I went to this place, it was amazing, here's what happened. So there is no real estate, no direct sales happening inside the Facebook group. However, we do have a Facebook page, and on the Facebook page, we do post real estate and community content there.
Okay.
So we do some, we use that as our brand. Love Livermore is still a brand. We've done our best to brand our city, to brand our community, and then also brand our business. But we're not shoving it in your face. If you want to be a part of the page, that's your choice. If you want to opt into the newsletter, that's your choice. Okay. And again, in the newsletter, we're sharing community information and real estate information.
Right. So you're more of a conduit of information to try to create a connection point, as we talked about. Your whole premise is, again, in this case, having people love where they live. And through that, you've been able to build a very successful real estate business.
Absolutely. It's the long game. It's taken
a
while.
Thank you. And it's just the same thing like we tell anybody for real estate investing. It's a long-term game. This is not an overnight success.
Yeah. It's literally years that you have to invest in this.
Come back to time management for me again, please. Okay. And I know you're going, but we talked about it. But here's my thing. Because the deeper we're going here, you keep saying, and I'm with you 100% here about how much time it takes and the fact that it is a long game and that we're in there like moderating conversations and day and night. And like, I get it. I think for anybody that is not doing any of that yet, but is going, oh my God, I'm inspired. I want to do something. Again, going back to time management. What kind of time are we dedicating to this every day? Like, how are we maneuvering this whole thing of, getting the real estate business done? Is it just what we said, like plan your hour by hour and know exactly where you're going from one step to the next?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I'm an early riser, so I really believe in starting the day with like my workouts and my training and, coffee time with my husband. And so there's things like that are woven into my day that send me off on a good start. But then also, like, real estate changes from day to day to day. Right. It's always going to be the focus first and foremost to focus on my clients, my current clients, and the transactions that I'm in the middle of, my escrows that are happening. That's going to take precedence on my list of things to do. But then within that, I also have to always be working on and in my business. So what is that going to look like?
On and in. Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean,
we get so caught up, right? Like I shouldn't be doing those $15 an hour jobs. Look, I get it, but we got to remember some of these things, these little tiny dirty things that we do, that's actually what helped us get to where we are today.
Spending a little bit of it does end up making the phone kind of like my office. And it does, I have to remember that I need time with my kids and my husband and other things. I can't always let the phone drive me. And I do have a tendency to, it's just almost like instinctual for me because I've been in marketing for so long, almost nearly two decades almost. And so for me, it's instinctual. But like when Robin, who wasn't a marketer, and other people that I have helped, I give them like a plan of like, this is how many times you should, post a week. And you should vary your content, don't make it all real estate, make it 1/3, have your 3 buckets. You're a mom, you're an educator, you're a realtor, or you're a mom, you're an athlete, whatever your buckets are. And then you build that out from there, but you need to spend a little time every day. And maybe today it's focusing on your Facebook posts, and then tomorrow it's doing some Instagram. But when you're going in there and you're posting, you're not just posting and walking away. You need to find those people that are connecting with your content and then making sure that engagement continues and take note. For some people, they are going to need to write down and cultivate a CRM system to understand who's engaging with their content the most. I have a Reggie, and he's really good at looking at the analytics and the stats and all that kind of stuff. And then we talk about those things, but I'm just so much more touchy-feely that I go on instinct and feeling. And so I know kind of instinctually who's engaging with my content, and I just am making sure I'm a part of their lives, because I'm actually really interested in what they're doing. Like, I want to know that their kids had a great time, doing this yesterday, or, what is the next adventure someone's going on, and how can I help them and provide them information or motivation or whatever.
Yeah, but I got to get a deal. I don't have time for all that stuff.
It doesn't matter. It will come from that naturally.
Thank you.
And they will be the best deals that you've ever had. And they won't be deals. They'll be your clients. And it's the most fulfilling. This is the most fulfilled I've ever been in my life. And I never thought I'd ever say that being a realtor. I almost wanted to be embarrassed when I first became a realtor. Like, oh, I'm a salesman. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm a guide. I'm helping people make transitions in their lives. And through that transition, they're going to get to love their world, their home, their life that much more.
What time do you start in the day? What time do you finish? Ish.
I usually get up between around 5:30, sometimes earlier when I'm in full blown training, that a couple weeks before not even a couple weeks, a couple months before Ironman happens. It's probably earlier. And then I make dinner every night with my family and my kids. It may be tacos again tonight. But or chicken and broccoli, sorry. But we have time every night. And then I'm usually in bed by 8:30 or 9.
Okay, cool. So you're okay, got you. I got you. Just put it in perspective for everybody how much time and effort is put in. This has been absolutely phenomenal, very, very interesting. And I think that if we go back to the same way I asked the question last week to, I'm a new agent, I want to farm an area. If I dissect this one today and say, if I said that to you, your thing would be, look, you're not out there to sell anything. You're out there to help people love where they live. And if you use that premise, so for everybody, you want to go farm a neighborhood. We've gone through, and again, if you didn't pick it all up, I'm now going to encourage you, re-listen to the episode and go through the point by point. But the idea there is not to think about, I want to farm an area. Think about it as, I want to help the people in the area love this area even more. Now you're creating this hyper-local brand. You're bringing people into somewhere where they can have a safe, caring place to learn more about that neighborhood. And you just happen to be that conduit of information.
That's right. And remember that you don't need to focus on your competition. You don't need to focus on other people and the way they're doing it. So I might have a great roadmap for doing it, but your roadmap's going to look different. So just know exactly who you are and draw upon your own passions and strengths. And that's what will create that connection for you and your community.
On that note, I'm going to ask you for some last words or tips that you can share with everybody so that anybody who's tuned in can use it to help themselves get out there and build more mind share so they can get more market share.
My last tips, I would say, find some quietness in your day. Find 4 things. Focus on these 4 things. Finding some quietness in your day. You don't have to meditate. Maybe you just listen to your favorite song, ramble on.
Good memory, Zeppelin.
Little Zeppelin. But find some quiet, some time in your day where you can have some thoughts to yourself. It might be in the bathroom. Work out or sweat every day. Sweating makes me, it takes away my stress. So I would say find quiet, make yourself sweat. And in that quiet, you'll actually start developing a greater awareness of who you are and what your strengths are. And then just apply it and don't be afraid of change.
Would you find it crazy if I said that I find my quiet time on my big loud Harley Davidson?
I totally get it, man.
You totally get the road, right? The road. Nicole, where can people find you?
Everywhere. At Nick, NIK_NIK on Instagram is probably the easiest way to get into my mind. So follow me there.
Cool.
And on everywhere else. I told you where I'm at. Facebook, YouTube,
You got
all
it.
the things.
All the interwebs. You can find her everywhere. I encourage you guys, go tune in, check her out. Check out lovelivermore.com. Check out, follow at Nick on Instagram. Get a sense of how she does it. And as she just said, this is not about you doing exactly what she does, but this is about learning from something there that you can take and apply to yourself. And when we look at the, again, overall big picture today, is that idea of becoming, the community expert and helping people love where they live and trying to cultivate more business. It is not about being a salesperson. It is about getting out there and connecting with people. And of course, as I like to say, building mindshare. Nicole, a big, big thank you for joining me on the Mindshare podcast today.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you downloaded our free Industry Syndicate podcast app, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook, packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mind share so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call. We'll learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. I want to once again thank our sponsor, Kits Keep in Touch Systems, for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked them out, just go to my site and click on Marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.